come Westfield and
mate.
It's different. Like I couldn't show up with my DeWalt drill and start screwing planks of wood.
You need to tell at least 5 people if you want to get a screwdriver out. Like I'm telling you now, like it was a shocking and great experience for me, because how they operate was such a big learning curve for me, because it made sense why they did everything the way they did it. At the time for me, I'm like, God, I know someone that could build me this and I won't have to go through all of this. But for them, it was, you're not just coming in here as your own brand. You're coming into their brand, into Westfield itself. And you have to kind of follow their guidelines and their rules. And that's why, even though, at the time I was very confident with my regulations or, commercial jargon, they had a whole new level of jargon.
Yeah, rightly so. I mean, especially as we were going for a kiosk project. So you had the aspect of like, you can't just, again, show up in the middle of the floor and start building. No. There needs to be a set time, a set duration. You need to have, what's those things called again? With the paneling of the board. It's the first time I ever used that word, was the
hoarding.
The hoarding.
Hoarding
sounds like something you'll do for fun back in the early 1900s.
Yeah, I was there just to experience it.
Hoarding cost us like $6,000. All right. And that was just wood paneling to cover up the work, mate. And then
you had to do it.
And you need to go through the design process of hoarding and how would it look in the middle of the mall. And what design would we have on it? And,
You know what? But it was probably for me one of the best experiences I've had, even though it was probably the most stressful experiences I've had.
Like after the build was done, obviously hoarding is thrown away. I wanted to keep this hoarding.
We did keep it.
We threw it away eventually. Like, no way am I going to throw away.
No, we kept 2 pieces of it from memory.
Did we? We still got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I didn't want to throw away any of it. $6,000. I'm like, no, for the next build, we'll do that. But you're never going to use it again, And anyway, listen. This was the most expensive project we've ever done in our life, man. This just sucked up design time. It sucked up. We were there from
I was there from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. That was the Ramo soft launch. So you were in the kitchen.
I was in Ramo. So yeah, this was 2021, probably the hardest year of our life. 3 openings, right? We just got done opening Panadera, and that was another and then
that's another podcast.
Yeah, that's not. I've been Soho and Westfield. All right. I mean, I just every time we'll catch up over the phone, May and I, and I'm like, how much is it? What did that cost?
And it was
how much is going to cost us? And it just rolled, and it's nonstop. Like, we were pulling funds from anywhere we could, wherever. If MAMASONS or Ramo and Kentish or Guanabana was making a little bit more extra cash flow, we pulled it out just to pay for both of these projects that we're running.
I think it wasn't helpful as well, because the only reason why those 2 projects collided together was because of COVID,
yeah,
and the opportunity. So Ramo was such a great opportunity. It was one of those golden opportunities that I don't think we'll ever get again because of
No, we will get. Let's set it out to the universe. We're going to get.
Not with those terms, I'm telling you now.
They were great terms, but listen, we took the risk.
Yeah,
man, it was COVID.
That's true.
No one was on the street. There's probably 50% of commercial units are empty because people don't want to pay the rent. They've jumped out. Yeah. There was that loan that was given out by the government. Everyone took. A lot of people took it and fucked off and said, you know what, fuck this. I'm not coming back to open up an empty restaurant.
Yeah. And I think the reason why those terms were quite favorable as well is because there was kind of a history for that site not performing so well.
And it was COVID.
It was COVID.
Yeah. So we've had the performance history of previous tenants, in addition to, the world might end, but please rent this out because we're going to give you a good deal. And those 2 factors together, we decided, this is a good deal. We will bounce back. Things will normalize. We had this optimism about, how things were going to turn out. And I mean, we didn't have the opportunity like we did for Chinatown to go visit the space.
Yeah.
No, we were meant to go see the street. We saw the location, but it was a ghost town. I couldn't go there with my clicker. How many people walking in and out of shops? So. And
that's why all of them have been quite different.
They've all been very different to understand. Yeah. So now
back to Westfield.
Yeah.
I think for me, this project was probably an 8 months project, and it wasn't a project it wasn't a way that I was used to working, because me and Omar have been so used to just get the property. All right, let's pick the paint color tonight. Let's pick the tiles tomorrow, and then boom, we're gonna build it tomorrow.
I must have been in and out of Leyland's. Leyland's is like a DIY store. At least 10 times a day in Soho. You can't do that for Westfield. So just tell them about, so you need to engage with a certain...
I'm about to describe that now.
Please.
So with this project, it was so that's what I found out in this board meeting that I didn't understand. So they actually asked me in this board meeting saying, so who's your design team and your fit out crew? And in my head, I was like, me and Omar are going to design it. And they must have laughed their bloody heads off when I said that. Yeah. They kind of had a little smile, wrote it down.
That's what we've done all the time. For us,
we've never had anyone design our place before. And then they were like, so who's your fit out team? And I was like, I'm not sure. Is there any requirements for fit out for doing it in Westfield? And they were like, well, yeah, they need all these certifications, regulations, And straight away I knew it was basically not our fit out team. And they said at the end very kindly and politely, would you like us to recommend you a list of contractors and designers for you,
who have experience building on
I didn't find that out till like the second meeting. So I contact all these. So they gave me a very concise list. What I'm not allowed to talk about what the list is. And they said basically these are our recommendations. And after a few calls, I very quickly pieced it together why they were the recommendations. They were basically all the contractors that have worked on Westfield. Now, they're not saying you can't have your own contractor or your own design team. That's not ever worked for them. But they have a long test, is what I call it.
I gauge complexity by the thickness of paperwork.